Group work. Many of us have at one point or another have found ourselves forced to work with a group. Whether it was by force, obligation, or sheer happenstance, you find yourself stuck working with random people you don't know with varying levels of commitment, talent, and expertise. So of course you might begin to wonder, what am I supposed to do as a member of a group? What is my place in the group? And what exactly are the roles in a group? And probably much more. That's where we come in. Hi, my name is Zach. I am a member of the group known as the Lucky Seven. Our group has throughout this semester had the opportunity to work together on many different projects, ranging from the mundane to the ambitious. As we spent more time together, our members soon began to figure out what roles fit them best in our group. So today, with the help of a fellow group member, Jonathan, we will go over our group members' distinctive roles and help give insight into what makes a group successful. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Zach. Starting off, I had the opportunity to talk with Sarah, our designated leader of the group. So Sarah, do you care to elaborate on what such a position entails from you?
Of course. As the task leader, I'm basically the group's surrogate captain, constantly having to steer our ship towards success and order the best that I can. So I have to set goals, assign tasks, and try to keep everyone motivated to do what's best for our group. While it's of course a really daunting position for some, I believe it is a necessary one for any group to be successful in what they do.
Indeed. It seems like the team relies on you a lot. Any specific challenges or perhaps pet peeves that you would like to inform others about who plan to fill a similar role in their groups?
Pet peeves. I wouldn't go as far as calling them that, but as for challenges, I guess one of them is trying not to become a micromanaging control freak. The best thing to do is to try to lead with clarity, empathy, and authority when needed. And a bagel here or there also does wonders.
Later on, I met with Rebecca, who we call our silent observer, and we were able to have a very lively conversation. Now, Rebecca, do you mind expanding on what the silent observer actually does?
Yeah, well, basically I just sit and listen and watch you guys.
Is there anything else that you do?
Yes, I observe carefully.
Is there anything you want to add for those who wish to follow in your footsteps?
Patience.
Alright then. Well, moving on, I was also able to get in contact with our record keeper, Marilyn. Marilyn, mind telling us about your role as a record keeper, and how has that experience been going for you?
So, it's been interesting. As a recorder, I listen, I type, I try to make sure everything is written down, but sometimes we speak louder than I can type, and that makes things a little bit more difficult than it should be, but I do try and make sure I get everything down, especially the most important topics. So it's a pretty simple job. I try to be as concise as possible, and I know that as a group we'll definitely benefit from this later or when it gets brought up again. So what can you do? I also like this job because I tend to zone out because I have ADHD, so this keeps me focused and on task.
Sounds pretty exhausting, if I'm hearing this right.
I wouldn't say it's exhausting, but it can be a headache when I'm not typing as fast as everyone is talking and as fast as the words are coming out. I do think that everyone gets something out of it, which is why I don't mind it. And I think every group needs a recorder to keep us accountable and also remember our really good ideas, especially this being a recorder is really important when we're brainstorming, because I think to get our final project, we got our final idea from combining all of our past little ideas that didn't quite work out on their own. So yeah, I would say it just helps keep everyone accountable, and even though it can get annoying asking what did you say because I missed it, as my group mates don't mind, and it's really useful, and honestly I don't think people should mind if in the end it's going to benefit everybody. So yeah.
Indeed. Good tips. Now let's go and interview our next subject, our pessimistic central negative, Amadou. So Amadou, how do you feel about always having to be the anchor of the group in as the central negative?
Well, Jonathan, it's a very unrewarding role, but it's one that has to be filled. While we may have many ideas to bring up during our brainstorms, some are not as good as others. So it's necessary that someone points this out so we can consider our choices carefully. But always having to rain on our idea parades gets very
Fickle?
draining, especially when you get that feeling that most of your group sees you as a Debbie Downer, always ready to shoot down anything anyone says because they think you're wrong and I'm right. When in reality, I just want to make sure we don't go along a path that might be difficult for us or might not meet requested expectations.
Definitely a precarious job that you have there, Amadou. Now we move on to the last role that we have observed in our group, and that is the role into the tension releaser. Estella, as the tension releaser, do you like to comment on what this role means to you?
Well, being the tension releaser means keeping the group spirits up when things get stressful. I try to lighten the mood with a joke, suggest breaks, or just be a positive presence. Sometimes the group can be too focused on something and not realize that we need a break. So it can be a little tricky to not seem dismissive about a serious issue. However, I've come to learn that timing is everything.
I like that advice. Do you have any other suggestions?
It all comes down to being genuine, learning how to read the room, and of course, knowing when the team needs a little bit of a lift.
And with that, we conclude every single one of our roles, definitely not missing a single one here. Now, back to you, Zach, in the studio.
Thank you, Jonathan. And that wraps up our group roles breakdown. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, every role counts when it comes to teamwork. This is Zach Sequeira, signing off. Thank you.